Voice of Indonesia.
Hello, VOI listener. Welcome to a special interview with me, Ray, here. And today I'm going to talk about some musical things that is really interesting. Not long ago, we've been come by the Cello Biennale people, and of course, it's not just about the tournament, the musical industry, but also the creation and collaboration and innovation of classical music. And right now, here, we have a special guest coming all the way from Dutch Netherlands. We have Lonneke and Genevieve. Is it right? Here with us. Thank you for coming to Voice of Indonesia.
Thank you for inviting us.
Yes. Okay, so can you tell us a little bit about the Dutch Brewhouse? Speaking of brews, it's not about coffee, right?
It's not about coffee, but it's about brewing together.
Brewing together.
And I had the wish to create something with people I find interesting. So that became a brewery. And because we're from Holland, it became the Dutch Brewhouse.
The Dutch Brewhouse.
Yeah.
You get it here, boy listener. And so I'm going to ask you from Lonneke and Genevieve on how did you start your career as a classical musician? And maybe tell us a little bit about your personal stories on why do you choose that instrument as your main instrument?
I started to play the cello when I was 7 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And actually it was because of my mom.
Your mom?
She really wanted to play the cello, but she was never allowed to play the cello.
Not allowed?
No, she had to play the violin.
Ah.
Her parents said, we want you to play the violin. And she thought, well, if ever I have a child, she or he has to play the cello. And she always said, you have to try. And if you don't like it, then you can stop. And I didn't know what a cello was. And then I had my first lesson and I really liked it. And I fell absolutely in love with the cello. And I started at a music school and I had a fantastic teacher. And he helped me to grow and develop my cello playing. And then I went to conservatory, music college.
Oh, okay.
And that's how it started. And the reason why I played classical music is, I think, because of the instrument. Because especially in Holland, cello is really linked or connected to classical music.
Yeah, all string instruments.
Yes. So that was basically automatically. And I really loved the music as well. So, yeah.
Okay. Okay, how about you?
Yeah, for me, it's the story is quite similar, but I chose the violin myself because for me it was magic, and I was so inspired by it. So I said to my parents, I want to try this instrument. What is it? Yeah, this is it. And I also started at a music school and then went to the conservatory, young talent class, and did my bachelor and masters in The Hague, Den Haag.
Den Haag.
And I learned a lot, and I was really lucky with my teachers there because I was always looking and searching for maybe a bit different projects than only classical music. I have a lot of interests, and they let me free to find my own way. And that was also why I could create the Dutch Brewhouse.
The Dutch Brewhouse.
Yeah.
Okay. So are you guys both from a musical family? Started off from a musical family?
Not really. My mom, she plays the violin, but amateur, so she never went to music college. In my father's family, no one plays
instruments.
They're all very sporty.
Oh, okay. I can tell from your height. It's like a sport build.
My dad, he plays the guitar.
Oh, guitar.
So I grew up with mostly pop music and jazz. And I still have very warm feelings for guitar playing. So there's a guitar player in the Dutch Brewhouse.
Guitar player. In
Yeah,
Dutch Brewhouse.
and he plays electric guitar.
Oh.
So with an amplifier, and that's for me really interesting. So we combine classical strings with
Modern.
electric guitar.
And it's the fantastic Gijs Idema.
Yes, he is.
Gijs Idema. What is
Gijs
it?
Idema.
That's his name.
That's his name.
Oh, that's his name. Okay. Is he like is he the youngest one there or
The youngest? No,
No.
I think
Vimian.
Vimian is the youngest.
Vimeo?
Yeah.
Oh, the youngest one. Okay. Speaking of the Dutch Brewhouse, and can you tell us on how you came together as a group and who started it? Who initiated it?
That's
Creating it?
Lonneke.
Yeah, well,
Love
that's
it.
me. So what I told you before, I had the wish to form a group with adventurous people and open-minded people. It's more like a collective, actually. So it depends on the project who is involved. So now we are with 7 people. Next year we have a project. It's with 5 people.
Oh,
And then there's also percussion.
percussion.
So it depends a bit on the project. But for this Climate Justice in Season project, it's strings, electric guitar. It's not really classical. It's we try to
brew something.
brew, and also there are no classical boundaries.
I see.
So that's also in the setting, but also how we present ourselves. We tell something during the concerts. We talk with the audience. We invite the audience to talk with us afterwards. And there's not only a Vivaldi classical composer music, but we also play new music from a Dutch composer and a Canadian composer.
Oh, so you work together with other composers and maybe like players from other countries as well. Have you tried that?
Yes, we do.
Oh.
Yeah, and it's really nice because then you meet a lot of other people, and I find it a big inspiration to meet people from other countries.
And what I really like about playing with Lonneke, especially, is that our concerts are really an experience that we do together with the audience. So that there is really you really feel a connection. It's not just that we come on stage, we bow, people clap,
Do our thing.
do our thing, and then we go. But you really feel that there's something happening in the whole and with the people that you are in it together, and that's something I really like about making music, that you share the experience.
Okay, so like what you are chasing actually is what I think is the interaction between the artist and the audience.
Yes. Yeah.
To get the intimate relationship after the performance. Is that right?
But not only after the performance, but also during.
During the performance.
Yeah, and before. And that's when you give a concert, you can feel a distance between audience and musicians, but I don't want that. I'm really aiming for that you experience the whole thing together, and that there's no boundary or
There's always an interaction of energy between the musician and the audience.
Yes.
We
You try to like connect with the audience while you are playing with the instruments.
also.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do you like inspired to create a new kind of genre of music, since like the audience always seeking for more new things to consume every day? Because from what I can see is that not all kind of people just enjoy one type of music. They would like to try and find something new. And how do you inspire to get that ideas as a band?
So what I told you before, I have a lot of interests. So not only classical music, but a lot of different styles of music, also pop music, jazz music, world music. And for me, it's a challenge to put everything together, and that there's no hokjes, like
there are no lines in between the different
the genres,
the
but
genres.
that it's more like one thing. And how we achieve that is that we just do it. We just put a lot of things together, and then we try and we brew, and then
the ingredients.
yes,
The
all the
ingredients.
ingredients, and then we make a really nice project of it.
Yeah, and I think also the one of the things that I really like about classical music and the tradition of classical music is that it really invites the audience and yourself to go in a sort of concentration and meditative state. And I think that is really strong about classical music. And then you can combine it with all the things that are happening right now, and then you get a really interesting mix. And Lonneke always creates those. She has, in Holland we say, she has a nose for it.
Not the
She
ears,
has
but nose.
Yeah,
for
she
it.
has a nose, like maybe it's like you can sniff in the air what is happening and what is interesting nowadays and relevant in the society, and then you get up to date and traditional
Combination.
Yeah.
And I think both of you did it. Being invited into the Indonesian Erasmus Huis is one of the great achievements. Is this your first time here? Even though I asked you before.
Well, it's not my first time. It's my second time. I was here in 2019 with my other group, Pinarello, and we played concerts in Medan, Surabaya, and Jakarta. We were also invited by Erasmus Huis, and I'm really grateful that I'm here again. And we had some lovely experience already last week, also in Surabaya, with a lot of students. We played together with almost 140 students.
140 students.
And before in Salatiga, we also gave lessons and masterclasses and concerts. So this is our final destination in Jakarta.
Jakarta. After this, you're going back to Holland.
Yes, we will leave tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay, so coming into Jakarta, Indonesia, I mean, like in Indonesia in general, what do you see the difference between how the students play classical instruments that you are playing? Is there any type of like personality difference from Indonesian musicians and Dutch musicians?
Well, I got really warm and touched by a lot of students who self-taught. So by YouTube and learning by movies they saw, or and in Holland or in Europe we have quite a decent system, education system, and for us it's really accessible also. But for me it feels like there's a difference here, that it's not accessible for everyone, and that really touched me. That people have to find out themselves how to learn an instrument, and that made me think a lot. I don't know how it is for you.
Yes, and I think that exactly what you said, that really creates eagerness to learn. So what we saw were very eager students who wanted to know everything, and they had asked questions, and one difference we all noticed is that here it's quite normal to play more than one instrument.
Oh, yeah.
So I played the violin, but I also played a bit of the cello, and
I played the piano.
Oh, wow, how?
Yeah.
And so that was also a significant difference. In Holland, you usually, especially as a child, you just focus on one instrument, and sometimes you change. But I think especially they were all very awake and eager to learn, and that was
and we also learned from them. It's not like a one-way direction. So it was really about sharing experiences.
Oh, right. So what I get the most interesting part is like the difference between Indonesia and the Holland players is that in Holland, they usually play one instrument since like the beginning of their music career, like focuses on one instrument only.
Yes, yeah.
So it's not common there to play different instruments.
No, not really.
Oh, I see.
And I think I'm not sure about this, but I also have the feeling that the reason why they play an instrument is maybe a bit. It's not always from the motivation from themselves. It's maybe has to do with the parents or I'm not sure about that. But here I found the motivation of the students much more. Much bigger than some of the students.
Yeah, they really want to learn.
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe the final question is, and why did you? And is there a plan for the future for you, like to collaborate with other musical artists, especially different types of instrument that the Dutch Brewhouse is going to make in the near future? Maybe like a collaboration between the instrument that you played in Indonesia, like the gamelan.
I would love to. Yeah, we had a great lesson, and it was quite intense. Also, it was like 2 or 3 hours, and we had to learn a lot of technique and it made us really enthusiastic. So. We will definitely do something with it. I'm not sure what. And for the future, we are who we are. So we keep the interest to collaborate with a lot of interesting people. And it can be a scientist, it can be another artist or who or whatever. But I think it's important to inspire each other. And look for new collaborations.
Yeah, and I think that music, classical music, but also traditional music, different kinds of music is a very powerful language to speak to each other. True. And therefore it's a great tool to meet from different cultures from all around the world. And
it's universal.
It's universal.
Yes, yeah.
Even though we don't understand the language, but we understand music.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, it's inside the human being.
Yeah.
So, let's keep on
brewing.
And of course, for listener, thank you so much for accompanying me in this special interview with the Dutch Brewhouse with Lonneke and Genevieve.
Thank you, Ray.
Thank you.
In this special interview, even though the world is like feeling separated and maybe you feel alone, but always music is always be there for you and always makes us connect with each other and collaborate in the future. And thank you so much for your listener for accompanying me in this special interview. My name is Ray and I'll see you in the next episode.
Voice of Indonesia.